These days, there are so many makeup tutorials that focus on looking natural and clean and minimal. But have you found that when you try to follow these tutorials on your own face, the finished look ends up being the furthest thing away from looking natural? If you're truly interested in that, I just woke up like this, I never wear too much makeup, that kind of look, then you need to stop doing what you're doing and stay tuned. Okay, so here is the issue that I have with a lot of these natural makeup tutorials on YouTube. These are makeup tutorials designed for cameras. Now, with all these clean girl makeup looks going viral on social media and gaining popularity, so many tutorials for these types of looks are popping up left, right, and center. But I have to say, from watching a lot of these tutorials, and I've watched a lot of them, especially in preparation for this video, in my opinion, everything is just too much. And it's totally fine for you to wear a heavier amount of makeup. I'm not being judgmental about that, but at the end of the day, these looks are not natural in real life. It might look natural if you're trying to take a selfie or if you're filming yourself, but in real life, if you've tried to follow some of these tutorials yourself, you probably felt that the finished look is quite questionable. I mean, that's why you clicked on this video, isn't it? So to me, the whole point of makeup is to boost your self-confidence, but if you look in the mirror and what you see is not what you expected, then what's the point? I mean, if your makeup appears supernatural in a selfie, that's great. But deep down, if you know that in person, your look is not as natural as you want it to be, then how can that truly help with your self-confidence? And like I said, I'm not putting anyone down for wearing more makeup. I love makeup too. I mean, I became a makeup artist for a reason, and I like all styles of makeup, but let's just be honest with ourselves and say that a lot of these clean girl, minimal makeup tutorials are, for the most part, not that minimal in reality. So, let me talk about some common mistakes that I see a lot of people make. These are the mistakes that are making your makeup look more unnatural in real life. I'm gonna focus mostly on talking about the base makeup because your base makeup is everything when it comes to a clean and natural look. And there's really only two recurring themes that I'm gonna talk about throughout the video, regardless of the product you're using. It's the amount and the application. Let's start with talking about foundation. Nothing makes me cringe more in these natural makeup tutorials when they pump foundation straight onto the face. If you're going for a natural look, putting an uncontrollable amount of product onto your face to begin with is not a good idea. Like I said, your base makeup is everything for this look. So if you're starting off on the wrong foot with too much foundation, either your look is not going to appear that natural, or you're going to end up spending so much time blending to the point where the beauty blender is going to soak up most of that product anyways. And I will admit that when you wear more foundation, your skin will appear more even overall, especially on camera, but it's not necessarily going to look more natural in real life. So if that's the look you're going for, then trust me, you don't want to start off with that much foundation. What you want to do instead is pump out a small amount onto the back of your hand and either use a wet beauty blender to take small amounts at a time to apply to your face, or what I like to use is a foundation puff sprayed with some mist, and again, just take a very small amount at a time to use on your face. I only put 2 drops of the foundation onto the back of my hand, and I ended up using only about half of it to cover the one half of my face. And if you're using a brush instead of a beauty blender or a puff, make sure you choose a very dense brush because that's going to help with buffing your foundation into your skin as much as possible. Now, before I talk about concealers, I actually started off with using an orange color corrector underneath my foundation just for my dark circles. And even with color correctors, again, you want to control the amount. The whole point of color correcting is to neutralize any unwanted tones in your skin. So if you're using an orange color corrector, how much product you should use, especially when you're going for a more natural look, is just enough to cover the blue that's showing up in your under eyes. I see a lot of people applying so much color corrector to the point where the skin turns orange, but the actual right amount should just hide the blue and the end result should match your skin tone more closely because we're just canceling out the blue. I mean, a little bit of excess orange is okay because you're going to cover it with your foundation and concealer, but if you use too much to the point where the skin turns orange, then you're going to end up using much more foundation and concealer to hide that excess orange, which again goes against the purpose of using the smallest amount of product that's possible on your skin. So with that said, your regular concealer is going to be the same thing. I absolutely disagree with all of these tutorials telling you to apply concealer directly on your skin with the application wand. If you're going for the full glam, full coverage look, that's fine because more concealer is going to help with creating that airbrushed effect. But we're trying to achieve a no makeup look here. And if you use this much concealer on your skin, not only is your skin not going to appear that natural, but you're also going to end up spending a lot more time blending, and you're actually just going to take off most of that product with your beauty blender as you blend more. So instead of applying the concealer straight onto your skin, you should, again, use the back of your hand to just get a small amount of product out of the bottle first, and then you can use a fluffy and a dense brush and just dab a small amount onto the brush to apply to your skin. These dense brushes are great for blending everything out, but if you want to blend the product in further, then you can also use a beauty blender after you blend with your brush. Now for your blush application, with liquid blush, if you're using more product to begin with, again, you're gonna spend more time blending it out and your beauty blender is just gonna soak up most of the product. So just start off with a small amount and then add on more as you feel is necessary. With powder blushes, how you want to control the amount that you put onto the brush is, after you get some product onto your brush, you always want to tap the brush once or twice or thrice before you apply it onto your skin. If you don't do that, you can't really control the amount that goes on your skin, so the blush is gonna appear very strong and blotchy on your cheeks, especially if you have fair skin. And then you're gonna end up blending it all out, which again is just a waste of your time. So make sure to always tap your brush, tap, 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 to get any excess product off. The same concept obviously applies to any powder products you use. You gotta tap your brush after you get some product on it. The word of the day is control. Like I said, your base makeup is everything for these looks, and 90% of getting the most natural looking base is controlling the amount that goes on your skin. And honestly, that's the biggest difference when it comes to doing your own makeup versus getting it done professionally. You just have to remember that you can always add on more, and it's so much more difficult to start off with a lot and try to take it off later, especially for these natural looks. One other trick that I like to use for contour is I actually mix the highlighter and the contour powder together so that the color doesn't appear too harsh on my skin. If you use this trick though, just make sure that the highlighter doesn't contain any shimmer in it, so it should be a matte finish. Okay, so those are more or less the basic steps of your base makeup, but I have one more tip when it comes to applying your eyeshadow. With these natural looks, we never really use too many colors. I personally just like to stick to a single color on my eyelids. And the eyeshadow brush that you use should never be a dense brush if you're going for a natural look. So stick to brushes that are still fluffy but far less dense. Usually brushes that have longer bristles tend to be more sparse, and this type of a brush is going to pick up a lot less product to begin with, so it'll make it easier for you to apply a thinner, more even layer of eyeshadow. And again, don't forget to tap your brush. So here's the finished look on both sides with a little bit of eyebrows drawn on and some mascara and lipstick added to the look. And I already know that I'm gonna be getting some mixed reviews about this because, like I said, these tutorials are designed for the camera and not for real life. So in the screen here, you might not see a huge difference, and some of you might even think that the side with more makeup looks better, but you saw the difference in the amount of product that I used on each side, right? So you can probably imagine how different the face will appear and feel in real life between the two sides. Again, if you want to wear a heavier coverage, that's totally fine, and you do what makes you feel the most comfortable and confident. But if you are truly looking for that no makeup look, use as little product as you possibly can. It's as simple as that. And also remember that a lot of these videos on social media use things like filters to make the skin appear more flawless. So don't be discouraged that your skin doesn't look like what you see on social media. If you really want to wear little to no makeup but still look like you have flawless skin, then let's be real, you actually just have to have flawless skin. So I'm just trying to level set your expectations because social media does such a great job of manipulating you into thinking that you can achieve the unachievable. But at the end of the day, what matters the most to you is how you feel about yourself when you look in the mirror, not when you look at a photo of yourself. I hope you found this video helpful and hopefully not too harsh. I come from a good place in trying to give you the most realistic tips. I'll see you in my next video, and until then, stay unique and stay gorgeous.